a few questions in a live stream, and it really kind of touched home with me. And I kind of wanted to go over a little bit because not that long ago, actually, it's been a few months, I'd made a video talking about how homesteading for free is not a reality. And that's the truth. You're not going to be able to do this for free. It's an impossibility. Pretty recently, I had seen on some live streams where people were asking about, or saying, that they didn't know how they were going to homestead because, they were on a fixed income and stuff. And while me and my husband are not on a fixed income because he works and it's not like disability or SSI or SSA or whatever, we're still poor. Because when we purchased our house, we bought it when we had 2 incomes, and that was what we thought was going to be a continuance. And so, it was comfortable for us. Well, me being at home now, it's tight. It just is. And I think that's not just for me, but that goes for most people. Money is just tight. Money's hard to come by unless you're in that 1% that's really wealthy, and then you probably are not interested in homesteading anyway. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how I've been doing what I'm doing with not a lot of money. So while you cannot homestead for free, this stuff did cost money. There are ways around it, and ways that you can make it work. So I just kind of wanted to go over a couple of those things. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to tell you is this. Throw out Pinterest. Throw it away. Throw away YouTube. Throw away most of the things you're going to see, because people are going to show you these beautiful, picturesque, fancy schmancy little cages, and all these little things that if you are working on a budget, you can't afford this. There's just no two ways about it. I would love to have a beautiful rabbitry and all this other stuff. I would love to have the kind that has like the little flower pots on the side that I saw on Pinterest. But, economically, this is not going to work for me. I had to do what I had to do. So that would be the first thing I would tell you to do, is don't scour the internet for these pictures, because if this is what you're aiming for, you're going to be sorely disappointed. It should be about function, not pretty. So that would be something I want you to get in your head right off the bat. Another thing you can think about too is the trading up. So homesteading is not, so far what I have discovered, it is not an instant quick fix. If you have the money to do that, great, fantastic. Build your barn, put in your fences, get all your animals, and have it all done in 3 years. That's what you can do it. But the reality is most of us kind of have to plug at it a little at a time, because we're trying to feed our families. So for me, trading up was a really good thing to try. I'll give you an example. When I got the button quail, because I traded Trinket, my chicken, for a breeding pair of button quail. Button quail was not what I wanted, and you can't eat them. They're not a functioning homestead animal. So even though it's not what I wanted, I had to take the time to breed them, to sell them, so that I could trade for Coturnix quail that I can eat and that I can use on the homestead. And then I sold the babies to make money to buy my rabbits. There again, the rabbits. I have mini Rex rabbits. Can you eat them? Absolutely. You could eat these guys. But they're really small. The dress weight, it would kind of almost be pointless. So these are not the goal for my homestead. This is not it. This is a stepping stone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to breed these guys. And then from that, I'm going to sell them. And as I'm selling, I'm going to keep back money, number one, to fund the homestead, to fund their feed and their water, to make them self-sustaining. And then what extra I have, put it back until I can purchase the standard Rex rabbits that I'm actually wanting, that I can eat. So that's kind of what you have to do. If you don't have a lot of money, I can't go out there and say, oh, I want these standard Rex rabbits that are, $50 to $120 a piece. So instead, I'm going to take these mini Rex rabbits, who are $15 a piece, or deal of a lifetime, $5 a piece, and just breed up and go that way. So that is another idea that you can try if you don't have a lot of money, is maybe it's not exactly what you're wanting, but if you can use that to your advantage to breed up or to sell up, go for it. Okay, so another thing, patience is key. I am not a patient person. I hate to be patient. I want things done now, yesterday. The second it comes into my head, it must, magically appear at that moment, and that's just not how this works. So patience is key. When I found the Rex rabbits, I was going through and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to find these, got to get these, I want these, I want these. So I was sending people messages and stuff, and I was finding these, and they were like $30, $20, $25 a piece. And I found the breeding pair, and they were relatively cheap. I think I paid $35 for 2 of them, and 1 was pregnant. So I got a really good deal on it. But I had also commented on a breeder's page, and she wanted $50 a piece for hers. I waited because I was like, and I'm glad I did, because someone was going out of business, and I found them, and they sold me their rabbits for $5 a piece just to move them out because they wanted to close down shop. So if you're very patient, which is hard, every now and then you'll come across a great deal. Don't jump at the first thing that you see, because sometimes that's going to cost you more money in the long run. Patience, patience. So I'm going to show you a quick little tour of some of the things that I've done in the barn, and what I've had to buy, what I've been given, and what things have cost me. So the first thing is this stuff right here. I actually had to buy the wood, but I did this back in February when I thought I was doing this with chickens. I had made this little undercoop because I had planned on putting baby chicks in it, but it works perfectly for these 2 guys. So the chicken wire was already here. All this stuff was already here. This I had to buy earlier in the year, but not now. That's the other thing too. If you can't do it all at once, don't do it all at once. Do it a little at a time. There's nothing saying you have to say, I'm going to homestead, and then the next day you have your whole farm set up. Just go slow, because sometimes if you speed into it, you hurry up, you try to buy all these things, you'll get a little overwhelmed. I kind of did when I had the pony. I got a little overwhelmed with that because I wasn't ready. It wasn't that I couldn't take care of her, but my barn wasn't set up for it. I was not ready. I did not prepare for something like that. So make sure that you have everything set up and you're ready to go. You've done your research and you know what you're doing before you do something. This right here, this cage was given to me by a cousin. I started asking around, did anybody have any old rabbit cages or, bird cages that they didn't want for the quail? And she's like, hey, I got this cage. It's been sitting out in my garage. Have at it. So got this for free. I had to pay for the food and water bowls. The waters, I think, are like $3 and something. This little crock right here that I feed them out of, the Dollar Tree in our area, I don't know if you guys have a Dollar Tree, but a Dollar Tree is just literally everything's $1. And I got those for $1. So that right there is super cheap. I could have gotten a crock for this. I just happened to have one of these already from where we had Frosty. So that's why I have this. This one I bought because it was really big. And there's 2 of them. So I wanted them to have a bigger water. And they don't have as much space. So I didn't want to take up their space with a water bowl. So you could get away with only spending $2 and having that right there. The other thing is like this right here is the fencing that I had to take down from my animals. And even though I had this at one point up, I could easily sell or barter this if I wanted something else. Like if I wanted more quail, if I wanted more rabbit, this would be a great bartering tool. So look around with what you have. You might have something that somebody else wants, and then you can get what they have. This right here was free. This is a pallet. All of this right here, these are all pallets. We just screwed them down into the barn floor. So they were free. Free is always good. This fencing right here, also free. My granny had this sitting outside in her yard. Didn't need anything for it, so she just let me have it. They thoroughly destroyed it. But these were originally going to be chicken nesting boxes, and my chickens loved them. I put them in here for the rabbits. They actually had hay in it, but they've distributed it all over the place. But I'm going to use these for nesting boxes for the rabbits, or just whatever, just something to give them some entertainment. These things are 98 cents at Walmart. So there's just something else. The only thing that's really cost me a decent amount was the chicken wire. I think I paid like $31, but I have like 50 feet of it, more than I could use. in my little bitty space. So I paid for the chicken wire, and I got that up. And in order to put up the chicken wire, I had to have one of these. Little staple gun. They were really expensive at Tractor Supply. They were expensive at Lowe's and Home Depot. But I went to Walmart, and they had these for $7. And I think the staples were $1.70 or something like that for like 1,500 staples. So look around. Then over here, this was a piece of fencing I had left over that I'm using here. This is an old baby gate that I found at a yard sale for $2. This is a chicken water that I already had from having chickens. A dog food bowl that I found for free. So that's kind of what I'm doing. You just hodgepodge it. And then, ignore my mess, but this thing right here, I found this for free too. So I've got a little storage container. So that's what I'm doing. That's the best advice I could get for you. Don't pay out the rear end so that you can have these cute, fancy things. Does my barn look cute and fancy? I mean, do I have like this really nice, perfect little picturesque barn? No, but let me show you something. Let me show you that, that they live in what I had intended for chickens. Look at him. He don't care. He doesn't care. They don't care. Your animals don't care. So I think that would be a very important point. As long as they are happy, they have what they need, adequate space, good food and water, don't worry if it's not cute. So there's my tips for all of that. Okay guys, so there's my tips and my 2 cents worth on, how to homestead when you don't have a lot of money. So if you guys have any money saving tips or ideas on how to do things in a homestead for not a lot to little money, make sure you leave it in the comments. Check out the social media links below. I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I hope this is encouraging you to get out there and do this, even if you are a broke joke. See you guys.